reading works. We started yesterday, Friday. We had 2 readings. And today we have quite a few. We got 3 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5, and then 1 at 7 o'clock. So please stick around, tell your friends. Today we're happy to have a little Spec script, Aloha Cafe, about the one and only David Halle. Where are you, David? Yeah! So we're very excited to hear this piece. I'm sure David is too. Right afterwards, we're going to have a little talk back, about 10 minutes, so please, actors, you can stay, stick around. Give David a little feedback. David will tell us about the script with the one and only faculty member, Daniel, in the house, yeah! And Daniel will be there, maybe Stephen will come up too, and we'll just talk, give David some feedback, and also David can tell us, the germ of the script, how he, decided to write this project, and, so thanks again. All right, without further ado, the one and only Aloha Cafe, David Halle, yeah!
The Aloha Cafe. We begin at the Hawkins house, where Winona goes about her routine getting ready for a normal day.
Gary, I'm going to work.
Okay, dear.
I want to see you off that couch today. I'm sick of you spending all your free time just moping.
Gary enters, well-dressed and groomed.
Whoa, darling, what's with the suit?
I happen to have an interview.
Really? Where?
A few places. Don't worry, soon I'll be bringing home the bacon again like a good husband should.
That's great, dear. I know it's been hard since you lost your job in the real estate office, but you really do look better. So tell me, where is this interview?
Hey, look at the time. You need to get going. Court can't start without you.
Okay, well, do you need me to drop you off?
No, I'm all right, really. Get on now, off with you.
All right. See you tonight, Gary.
All right, see you tonight. Love you.
He closes the door on her face. Out of the driveway, Winona gets in her car and drives out into the street. She parks a block away and waits. A black SUV pulls up across the street, and Gary runs out and gets inside.
What the hell?
Over at the marshal's office, Raylan steps off the elevator and onto the floor.
Art wants to see you.
Isn't he always?
Raylan passes by the rest of the offices and into Art's office, where Art pours himself a mug of coffee.
Good morning, Raylan.
If you say so.
Come now. Even you can appreciate a warm Kentucky morning. Hey, I know it ain't Miami, but what is? If it would help you feel more at home, I can order up some tropical smoothies, sunblock, and coconut bras.
Good luck finding any of that stuff around here. Besides, that's not what I miss about Miami.
Then what is?
The girls, Art.
Oh, sure, if you happen to be into airheaded bimbos. Me, I prefer to pick the complex lock of a fine Kentucky woman.
Any bourbon in that coffee?
Hey now, I happen to know you can't resist them either. Let's not forget about a certain Ava Crowder.
Don't go there, Art. Not this early in the morning.
All right. You don't have to jump down my throat about it. Here, just take a look at this.
Art slides a folder across the table. Raylan opens it. There is a photograph attached.
Seymour Altman.
He turned his family restaurant into a black market over 20 years ago, and now he's been on the run ever since.
20 years? How can that be?
Well, he's got an IQ up in the high hundreds, but apparently those same brains made him nuttier than a pecan pie. Of course, I wouldn't expect you to understand the incredible burden of high intelligence.
Now you're just screwing with me.
It's all in the report.
And you want me to catch this guy?
No, Raylan, I want you to invite him to the ice cream social. That was a joke. It wouldn't kill you to laugh once in a while, you know.
Opening sequence. Act 1. Out on the highway, Winona follows behind the black SUV. She talks into her cell phone as she drives.
I'm sorry, but I can't come in today. I know, but you'll just have to find somebody to cover me. Yes, I'll try to feel better soon.
She hangs up and tries to stare through the tinted window of the SUV ahead of her.
Damn it, Gary, what are you trying to hide from me?
She calls Raylan, who is driving his car down Main Street.
Winona?
Hi, Raylan.
What can I do for you?
Why do you think I always want something?
You're right. I'm sorry. Thanks for calling back.
Damn it, Raylan! Listen, this morning Gary got picked up by some strange black SUV and now I'm on his tail.
Whoa. Slow down. Where are you right now?
Heading west on 55.
And why are you calling me again?
Look, I just have a bad feeling about this, that's all.
Well, your bad feelings usually right on the money, Winona.
Wait, they're turning off.
The SUV takes the next exit suddenly. Winona follows.
Hello? Are you still there?
Yeah, we're pulling to some kind of theme store. No, wait, it's a cafe. The Aloha Cafe.
So what? Maybe he's hungry.
But I just made him breakfast.
My point exactly.
Raylan, this is serious.
Well, so far it isn't. Since when have you played spy
I
anyway?
think being married to you might have had something to do with it.
So are they getting out or what? What do they
I
look
can't
like?
really see from here.
In that case, I take it back. You are not a super
Hey,
spy.
hold on now. I just need to get around this curb.
She hits the curb
Ow!
and drops the phone.
Damn it!
Hey, Winona, are you there?
Winona can't find her phone.
Winona.
She parks as Gary
Are you
and
there?
4 others head into the restaurant.
Winona.
Winona gets out of her car and follows into the Aloha Cafe. She walks through the main doors of the overdone Hawaiian-themed restaurant and bar. She is greeted by the hostess, Lucy.
Aloha! Welcome to a little slice of paradise.
Lucy drops a plastic lei around her.
Thanks. And aloha to you.
Well, thank you, sugar. So can I start you off with a drink?
What? I'm not even seated yet.
But you see, this is the Aloha Cafe way.
She produces a large fruity drink.
And it's only $5.95.
I'm sorry, but I really just need to see my husband. He came in with a group before me.
Oh my, I didn't realize. You are very lucky to have a man who works that close to the boss. Here, of course, this is on the house.
Really, it's all right. But what did you mean by lucky?
Let's just say if I had a man with enough stones to work around Eli all day, well, I'd say that's a man worth hanging on to.
Thanks.
But what am I doing? If you don't want to drink, then you must just want to go in the back.
Please lead the way.
Lucy leads Winona back through the kitchen and into the corridors behind the restaurant. In the back warehouse, Aldman, Russell, Cletus, and Gary sit attached to the back of the cafe.
I'm gonna go on my lunch break, boss.
All right, you really need to shove more food down that gullet, Big Mus. You better slow down, because I don't think they made denim overalls and super huskies.
Oh, well, at least I still have enough teeth left to chew my food.
Hey, shut up. My gingivitis ain't nothing to joke about.
No, but those fake teeth of yours sure are.
Oh, why do I keep
Gentlemen, please. What kind of first impression are you making on our new partner here?
This guy's a new partner? Huh, I'm out of here.
Fine, Russell. You are dismissed. Now, my dear Gary, we can have that talk, I promise you.
Russell exits.
What more do we have to talk about? My check cleared, didn't it?
Yes, Gary, you are in the clear.
Don't worry, partner. You make back twice what you put in once our operation is in full swing.
And you've done this before.
3 times myself. For old Eli here?
Yes,
Woo!
I have quite a long winning streak going in for these 1 to 2 year ventures.
I just hope the County of Harlan won't be what finishes that streak off.
Don't worry about that. I opened my very first restaurant here many years ago. There's one place I understand. It's Harlan.
Winona sneaks into the warehouse and tiptoes closer until she can hear them.
Now, there's a big market here for assault weapons and hillbilly heroin. With you running things in the front and us moving product out the back, we'll have stacks of cash in no time. But the minute someone gets wise to us, we burn this place down and move on to the next one. That's the strategy that's kept me free all these years.
Well, that's all very good, but there won't be a next one for me. This is the one and only time I'm going to be bending the law.
Oh, what?
I'm not someone who takes risks. I just need to make enough money to keep my wife in love with me and not that damn ex-husband of hers.
Boy, I don't think you know what you've gotten yourself into. See, I own you now. Body and soul. There is no wife for you anymore. We are your family now, and the Aloha Cafe is your home.
What? I never agreed to that.
You should know better, buckaroo. When you make a deal with Eli, you put all your chips in the pot.
Look, I am not going to stand for this. The deal was...
Don't you ever raise your voice to me, you little nobody. You are going to learn to fall in line, or else I'll make sure you lose everything, including that pretty little wife of yours over there.
Over there? What do you mean?
They all turn and see that Winona is actually not hidden very well at all.
Anyone who breaks into my cafe has to pay the consequences.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, in front of the cafe, Raylan gets out of his car and walks inside, where Lucy greets him.
Aloha! Welcome to our little slice of paradise.
Yeah, hi. I'm looking for a woman named Winona Hawkins. You seen her?
Long, good-looking broad, fair skin, high forehead.
Yeah, that's right.
I just sent her back to see the boss. We ain't allowed to disturb Eli when he's in a meeting.
Raylan flashes his badge.
Well, maybe he would make an exception for a U.S. Marshal.
Marshall? Didn't know they had those anymore.
Yeah, we've recently extended our purview, though we've yet to take an interest in illegal speakeasies. Of course, that don't mean we approve of them.
Just wait here a minute, okay?
She goes back into the kitchen. Raylan looks around, notices Russell sitting at the bar cradling a beer. He walks over.
Well, do my eyes deceive me.
Oh, hell.
How you doing, Big Russ? Still throwing that football?
Not since high school.
Oh, that's a shame. You always said you wanted to go pro.
What are you doing here, Raylan?
Maybe I want a drink.
I mean in Kentucky. Last I heard you were some big shot marshal in Miami. Decided you wanted to remember what it was like to be a big fish in a small pond?
Oh, I was never a bigger fish than you.
Ha! You haven't changed, have you? You're still that same cocky Raylan who got all the girls and charmed all the teachers with that slimy little smile. Well, I could barely hang on to a football.
And I see you still have those self-esteem issues.
Shut up! You may think you're better than us redneck yokels, but you can't change the fact that beneath that badge you're still a Gibbons, through and through.
Lucy comes back.
Marshall, Eli will see you now.
Well, I'm glad we had this talk.
Sure. Have a nice life. What's left of it, I mean.
Now, Russell, why would you go and say something like that? You're not involved in anything you shouldn't be, are you?
We're both in dangerous professionals, Raylan. Let's just leave it at that.
Lucy leads Raylan back towards Aldman's office. Aldman stands to greet Raylan as he enters.
Well, if it isn't Raylan Gibbons. When Lucy told me a marshal was here, I sure hoped it was Kentucky's most famous gunslinger. I've been waiting to meet you for a very long time.
Seems I'm at a disadvantage. You know all about me, and I don't even know your last name.
What's in a name anyhow? You still call yourself a Gibbons even though you're on the side of the law now?
Why does everyone in this cafe have a grudge against my kin?
Well, we're all Harlan natives here. Everyone's quite familiar with your family reputation for, how should I put this, a more liberal use of a sidearm. Enough small talk. You obviously came here for a reason.
And I'm looking for a woman. Winona Hawkins?
Damn, you just missed her. You can see her husband, though. Gary.
Gary bumbles in through the door.
You're coming, boss. Right.
Gary. Moving up in the world, are we?
Gary's actually one of my best employees.
That's right.
The good marshal is here looking for your wife. Gary, you have any idea where she is?
No, sir. She was here earlier, but she left.
Really? Any idea where she went? Because she's not answering her phone.
Nope. No idea.
I see.
Well, if that's all, I guess we'll come back any time, Marshal. I'd be happy to give you an aloha daiquiri on the house. Non-alcoholic, of course. This is a dry county.
Sure.
Raylan turns and walks out. Gary hurries after him into the hallway.
Raylan, I know it's here. She's in danger.
Get back in here, Gary.
Sure, boss.
We have work to do.
Raylan.
He exits back into Aldman's office. Outside the cafe, Raylan dials Rachel back at the marshal's office. She picks up her desk phone.
Raylan, now isn't this an unexpected
Hi,
surprise?
Rachel. Listen, you ever hear of the Aloha Cafe?
You mean that tacky place that just opened off I-55? What about it?
Could you meet me up there? I think I may need some backup.
Wow, well, this is a special day. The great Marshall Gibbons actually needs his partner's help for a change?
Just hurry over here, all right? I think Winona might be in trouble.
Of course, I'm on my way.
Rachel hangs up. Meanwhile, back at the cafe, Raylan walks around to the front of the warehouse. The door is being guarded by Cletus and 2 thugs.
Woo!
Raylan approaches them.
Look out, boys! We got ourselves a trespasser.
Pretty hot day to be wearing black, fellas.
Hey, step back, buddy. This area's off limits.
Even for a U.S. Marshal?
You got a warrant?
Well, let's say that I did. Would it make any difference? Now, you know I can see that sidearm under your vest, don't you? Before you make any hasty decisions, I would hope that you'd consider drawing a firearm on a U.S. Marshal as a federal offense, and you will spend the rest of your life in prison. Assuming I don't put you down first. So, why don't you just let me in and nobody has to get hurt?
Suddenly, one of the thugs draws. Raylan shoots him in the chest. Cletus and one of the other ones also tries to draw. Raylan shoots the one in the neck and shoots Cletus in the leg.
Ah, my leg! You bastard! Oh, my leg! You killed them! You didn't even know who they were! You killed them! Oh, God!
It was justified.
End of Act 1. Act 2. In the back room of the Aloha Cafe, Raylan walks through the warehouse full of guns and other illegal weapons mixed in amongst restaurant supplies. He hears some faint muffled shouting coming from a room. He goes over to the door and finds that it is also locked. Alden appears.
You gonna shoot your way into that one, too?
Nope, you're gonna open it.
If you feel so strongly about it, sure. You know, I think what you're doing might be illegal without a warrant.
No more illegal than what you're doing in this so-called cafe. I saw the assault rifles you got back there. They don't seem too aloha to me.
Alden swings the door open, revealing Winona, tied and gagged on the floor.
Winona!
Raylan feels the cold tip of a pistol on his back. He sees it as Russell holding the gun.
Oh, hell, Russell. And here I was hoping just one of my former classmates hadn't turned to a life of crime.
You got no right to judge me. Everything was always so easy for you, wasn't it? Well, the tables have surely turned now, haven't they?
The only thing I see that's changed is you're even more pathetic than before. Back then, at least, you were your own man. Now you're taking orders from somebody too afraid to even say his own name.
I don't need to prove anything to you, Marshal. I'm sure by now you've already alerted your associates about my cheerful little black market. So now I have to destroy this place. Such a shame. And I was just starting to get into the aloha spirit. Alas, now it has to burn, and you along with it.
Alden guides Raylan to a support beam and handcuffs his hands behind around his back.
Why are you doing this?
You remember Tommy Bucks? The man you shot on sight in Miami after giving him 24 hours to get out of town?
How could I forget?
Well, he was a dear friend of mine. Just think of this as vengeance, carried out on his behalf.
Alden takes a tank of gasoline and pours it in a circle around Raylan.
Right. Now I know you can judge a man by the company he keeps.
Go ahead, Marshal. Insult me. Scream for help. It won't make any difference. Grab my trophy. Would you, Russell? It's time we blew this tropical fruit stand.
Russell carries Winona off.
Don't worry, Winona. I'll be fine. You just hang out.
In his office, Alden douses his computer and file cabinets in gasoline while Winona struggles on Russell's shoulders. Gary enters.
What the hell are you doing? Where are you taking my wife?
For the last time, Gary, she's my wife now, and we're taking our business elsewhere.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're fired.
He points a gun at Gary.
No, Mr. Alden, please.
Alden pistol whips and Gary falls to the ground unconscious.
I told you never use my real name. It's Eli to you. Got that? Oh, I guess I hit him a little too hard.
We just gonna leave him here? I mean, I could have popped him a couple more times in the head for good measure.
That's too good for this porkster. I'd rather have him roasted alive. Make this a real luau.
Back in the warehouse, Raylan struggles against his handcuffs. Rachel approaches him.
Rachel, thank God you got here fast.
I just followed your mess in front outside. What have you gotten yourself into this time?
Rachel shoots the handcuffs off of him. Free, Raylan draws his pistol, hurries off.
Let's move. We don't have much time.
They round the corner and see Alden and Russell at the end of a corridor. Rachel, Raylan, and Russell all aim their guns.
Hold it.
You're under arrest in the name of the U.S. Marshal Service.
What do we do, boss?
Relax.
Alden takes out a cigarette, lights it.
You know, smoking really is such a nasty habit.
He tosses the lighter before anyone realizes the gas is on the floor, created a wall of fire between them. Smiling, Alden turns away. The three of them disappear behind the blaze.
We gotta get out of here.
Not without Winona.
Raylan, save Gary, please!
What?
Raylan looks into the room he's passing, sees Gary about to be consumed by the flames.
Damn it.
He runs into the room, slaps Gary.
Oh, Raylan, what's happened?
Saving your life, asshole.
Raylan pulls Gary onto his shoulders. They shuffle out of the room as fire closes in on all sides. In the Aloha Cafe dining area, Aldman and Russell, carrying a kicking and screaming Winona, barge out of the kitchen.
Boss, what's going on here?
Sorry not to give you 2 weeks' notice, but everyone who works here is officially laid off.
What? But why? And what are you doing with that woman?
Look, either you all vacate the premises immediately, or you'll be fired in the literal sense, too. Now, out of our way.
Aldman rushes outside. Suddenly, the fire alarm goes off.
What now?
She turns to see smoke.
Oh my God! Everyone run! The building's on fire!
The customers become a mob as everyone tries to get out. A few moments later, everyone watches outside as the building burns.
Miss, have you seen my partner, the marshal?
No, I hope he got out in time. How did this happen?
That boss of yours wanted to make sure nobody could follow him.
Eli did this?
Lady, if I were you, I'd look for a different line of work.
Raylan emerges from the inferno carrying Gary.
Winona, is she?
I'm sorry, Marshal. Eli took her.
We'll get her back, Raylan. I promise.
End of Act 2. Act 3. The remains of the Aloha Cafe are being doused by the fire department. Various people are dealing with the wreckage. Raylan, Rachel, and Art stand to one side.
We can't just stand here waiting. We should be looking for her.
And where do you propose we begin? We have absolutely nothing to go on because the damn cafe burned down.
That wasn't my fault.
Nobody said it was.
Look, we put out an APB on her, and we have roadblocks all the way from here to Lexington. If anybody sees her, we'll know. Till then, there's not much else we can do but wait.
To hell with that.
Raylan heads off toward his car.
And there he goes.
Raylan, wait! I know how upset you must feel, but that's no reason to rush off without your partner.
You know how I feel? Winona is out there somewhere in the hands of some madman getting tortured or raped or God who knows what else. You say you're my partner? She's my wife. I mean, she was my... Damn it!
You're not thinking clearly. You need to sit down, wipe the soot off your hat, and take a breath. Remember what Art said. We have no idea what his next move is.
No, but I know who does.
Raylan rushes over to Gary, grabs him by the collar.
Where is he taking her? You have any decency as a man, you'll tell me right now.
Don't you think if I knew, I'd tell you?
Raylan, let go of him.
I don't know anything about you anymore, Gary. I don't know what kind of a man would endanger somebody he loves over some damn Hawaiian cafe.
It wasn't about the cafe. I just didn't want to lose her to you. In a way, this is your fault.
My fault.
For God's sakes, what are you doing now? Interrogating a survivor?
This little rat is the reason Winona is kidnapped right now.
I want to save her just as much as you do. And if you please let me go, I'll tell you everything I know about Mr. Alderman.
Did you say Alderman?
That's right. Eli's just his cover name. And I bet there's a lot more info on this little flash drive I stole before the fire.
He pulls out a flash drive.
Hot damn. Well, you might just be useful after all.
You're not seriously considering taking his help.
And why not?
Because he's a criminal. He's the reason Winona got involved in any of this.
Look, Raylan, I appreciate a man's ego as much as the next chief marshal. But right now, the simple truth is, either you both work together or you both lose her.
Raylan releases Gary.
I cannot believe this.
Meanwhile, in the SUV, Alden sits beside Russell, who drives into an abandoned old boom town. On the floor behind them, Winona is tied up and rolls around.
Keep it down back there, pretty lady. We're almost there, right, Eli?
Oh, yes. This is the place.
They pull up to an old 50s-style diner bearing a giant logo that reads Seymour's Grill. They walk into the abandoned restaurant filled with old tools and possessions.
What are we doing here, boss? Is this going to be our next restaurant?
Hardly. We're just stopping here for sentimental reasons. Don't want to stay too long. This is one of the first places they would look if they found out my name.
Why's that?
God damn it, Russell, you really are too stupid.
Alden's phone rings. He takes it out of his pocket.
Oh, boss, don't answer that. What if they're trying to triangulate you?
You watch entirely too much television, don't you? Don't worry. Only my men have this number.
He opens the phone.
Yep.
Meanwhile, at the Aloha Cafe, everyone gathers around as Gary talks into a speakerphone.
Oh, Mr. Eli, sir.
Gary, so you're alive, huh?
I am.
Good. So you're calling because you want your money back or your wife?
Just stick to the plan.
You can keep all the money if you just let me speak to her.
Oh, I'm afraid she's all tied up at the moment.
You would better not hurt her or else
Or else what? You have nothing to threaten me with, Gare Bear. You are powerless.
I could go to the marshals.
Oh, please. They would just arrest you, assuming they haven't already.
Well, maybe not. You may think all the evidence was destroyed in that fire, but that's not the truth. I have something I took out of your office this morning, a flash drive.
Liar! Even if that's true, you can't break my encryption.
Well, I can't, but I bet the marshals can.
You really are a snake.
Guess I'm not so powerless after all.
So let me guess. You want to trade the drive for Winona?
That's right. She better not be harmed.
Fine. Meet me at Tate's Creek Bridge in 3 hours. Come alone, or she dies.
Alden hangs up. Later that evening near Tate's Creek Bridge, Raylan, Art, and Rachel crouch behind a boulder on the shore of a rushing river. Raylan looks through binoculars up at the bridge, where Gary waits nervously beside his car.
We're losing daylight fast.
That must be what he wants.
I still bet he won't show. I mean, this guy has evaded the FBI, the marshals, and dozens of others for over 2 decades. Why would he risk it all for Gary?
That flash drive must be pretty damn important.
Closer to the bridge, Gary waits anxiously. Suddenly, there is a blinding flash. 2 headlights approach from the opposite side. Gary squints until he can see Russell getting out of the black SUV.
Where's Alden?
He sent me instead. That a problem?
Well, where's Winona?
First, let's see that flash drive.
Not before I know she's okay.
You are so freaking difficult. Fine, get in. Get in or get lost. Eli's orders.
Gary gets in the black SUV next to Russell. They drive off. From behind the trees, the marshal listened with guns drawn.
All right, they've cleared the bridge.
Let's get after them.
Raylan runs out of the woods and into his car. Rachel jumps in beside him.
You're trying to ditch me again. We're partners, remember?
Sure, partners.
Hey, we're going to find her, okay?
They take off. Meanwhile, at Seymour's Grill, Winona is tied up at the booth, facing Aldman.
Now this takes me back. Yep. This is just like my first date. Except for the tape. That came later. She was a blonde too, I remember. My dear, sweet Ruby. It was at this very booth when I realized she was the one. Old Sam was working the cash register. Bobby Joe had just gotten back from football practice. And Tina and Jesse were smoking cigarettes by the jukebox, which had just started playing Peter Frampton. That's when she kissed me.
Aldman leans over and kisses her through the gag.
Just like that. That's the moment I knew that this is what I wanted out of life. All I needed was to have this restaurant filled with friends, and I would be satisfied. Funny how small those dreams seem now. Of course, I learned the hard way it takes more to run a business than a bunch of freeloaders. I had to start selling drugs on the side just to break even. But soon, even that wasn't enough. I had to turn to weapons, too. Then came the gambling and organized crime. Who would have thought running a restaurant would be so complicated? I had to skip town and get a new identity, start a new restaurant, build everything. But everything I tried just went to shit, and I ended up repeating the same cycles over and over. Eventually, I guess I just stopped caring about the people. This is who I am now. Sorry, would you rather talk about something else? Oh, right.
Alderman removes the gag.
Listen, you creep. I don't care about your sentimental delusions or your deranged justifications. You had better just untie me and let me go, or else when the marshal get here, they'll put a bullet in your head.
Really? The marshal?
That's right.
Or just your savior, Raylan Gibbons? I don't understand you, Winona. I barely know the guy, but just from our fight, I know he's in love with you.
Oh, honey.
When you could have a man like that, are you really going to stay loyal to Gary? Admit it. You are no sure about your motivations than I am. Nobody knows what really makes themselves tick. That's why I think it's important to revisit the past and return to places like this, filled with things that mean something to you. Like these napkins. I can't believe these are still here. Look, if a custom print napkin doesn't proclaim love for your restaurant, I don't know what does. And they're soft, too. Feel.
He rubs Winona's cheek with the napkin.
Okay. I don't know what this weird sexual thing you are doing is, but you need to stop.
Why do you think I've kept you alive this long anyway?
He throws himself upon her.
Ah!
End of Act 3. Act 4. In the backwoods, Russell and Gary cut through the muddy, deep forest roads in the black SUV. Behind them, Raylan and Rachel struggle to maneuver with the headlights off. In Raylan's car, he speeds up so he can see in the dark, scaring Rachel. She takes the wheel, tries to steer.
I got it.
You are out of control.
I'm completely in control.
He's going to hear us.
If he hasn't already.
We need to stick to the plan. He has to lead us to Aldman.
No, to Winona.
Meanwhile, in the black SUV.
Nervous?
No.
If you're thinking of pulling something, you can forget it.
Me pull something? Never.
Then why are we being followed?
What? Well, we're not being followed.
Well, I hope so for your sake. Because if you betrayed Alban, he'll never let Winona live.
The black SUV jumps out of the woods and takes off down a long, sleek incline. Raylan's car tears around it. In Russell's car, Russell rolls down the window, grips the wheel.
Who's chasing us?
Well, it's your guys, obviously.
I swear I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, right. I warned you, Gary.
He leans his head out of the window and looks back.
I do believe it's that Raylan Gibbons again.
Now, he must have followed me. That man is persistent.
Russell takes out his pistol, leans his head out the window, and fires several rounds at Raylan's car, causing it to swerve.
You may be a dirty snake, Gary, but I still want you to enjoy this. I'm going to kill the man who's after your wife. Come on, thank me, Gary.
No, stop shooting, Russell. Come on.
Russell sticks his head back in and reloads his gun.
What? You don't want me to shoot him? Jesus, what kind of man are you anyway?
So maybe Winona loves him now. So what? I'd rather lose her to Raylan than see her murdered by Alderman.
Well, if he catches us, you'll get neither. Face it, Gary, you have no choice. To save your wife, you have to help me kill her lover. Ironic, don't you think?
Not really.
Russell sticks his head out of the window and fires more rounds.
Take that, Raylan. This is for all those times you stole my girlfriend. All those parties you didn't invite me to. Bet you wish you'd been nicer to Big Russ now, huh?
I didn't realize this was so personal.
Shut up, Gary.
In Raylan's car, he swerves back and forth as bullets ricochet off their car, shred the windshield.
Why is he shooting at us?
Unresolved personal issues?
Well, don't you think it's time to shoot back?
No.
No. Since when are you the one against using firearms?
He'll never lead us to Aldman if he thinks she's being followed. Hold on, Rachel. This needs to look convincing.
Raylan spins the wheel. They screech off the road. In Russell's car, he sees them spin out of control, hits the gas.
Woo, yeehaw! Oh, I bet you're not grinning anymore, are you, Raylan? Come on, Ken. Where's your outlaw spirit?
Yeehaw.
I suppose that'll have to do.
They speed off into the abandoned town. Meanwhile, at Seymour's Grill, Alden forces Winona into an old waitress uniform.
Perfect fit. You look just like she did all those years ago.
You are seriously wrong in the head, you know that.
Shh, don't speak. Just sit there and look pretty.
His cell phone rings. He answers it.
Yeah. Okay, Russell. Is Gary with you?
Gary?
Okay, just park across the street where I showed you. Good, now wait there till I come and get you.
He closes the phone and opens a window shade. He sees the black SUV parking across the road.
You want to see something, Ruby?
That's not my name.
Fine. Your name is Ruby from now on. Unless you want to be flame broiled along with your husband.
What?
You'll see.
Meanwhile, in the parked SUV.
Are we here?
Yep.
Okay, well, let's go get Winona.
Not so fast.
Russell locks the doors.
But I thought
We wait for Eli's say-so. That's the rules.
we can't just sit here.
That's exactly what we do.
Come on, you can't just follow his orders the rest of your life. Think for yourself for once.
I don't need to think for myself. That's what I got Eli for.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but don't you think it's time you started believing in yourself? I mean, you just killed your high school rival. Doesn't that count for something?
Orders are still orders.
Only if you trust the one giving them. Come on, Russell, be a man. If you really know what it's like to have somebody steal your girl, then will you help me now?
Back in the grill, Alderman watches across the street as Raylan's car pulls up beside Russell's. Raylan and Rachel get out, guns drawn.
So here are the marshals. I knew Gary couldn't be trusted.
Raylan,
Yep, there's no mistaking that hat. Oh, this is too perfect. Watch closely, Ruby. I'm about to take out both your lovers in one strike.
He pulls out a little remote and presses a button. Russell's car explodes. The blast sends Raylan's car flipping through the air.
no! How could you? You're old man!
Yes, Russell was a loyal flunky, but he was getting on my nerves. This way him, the flash drive, and the marshals are out of my hair for good. That just leaves us, Ruby. Now we can run away together, get married, open a new restaurant, and grow old and rich
You're
together.
insane! I'd never marry you, not after what you've done!
You don't have a choice. The two men who loved you just went up in flames. Now I will fill the void that they left. Don't worry. In time you will learn to love me.
Raylan kicks in the door, pointing his gun at Alderman.
I wouldn't count on that.
Raymond, you're alive!
Alderman puts a gun to Winona's head.
Don't come any closer.
He pulls her toward the back exit.
You're one of those people who just won't die, aren't you?
Seems that way. So why don't you just hand her over to me, Mr. Altman? And I promise to give you a nice head start.
Sorry, but Ruby and I are looking forward to a long life together.
Ruby.
That's right, so just stay put or neither of us will get to enjoy her.
Alderman pushes his way out the back door just as Rachel walks in the front.
Raylan, what are you doing here? That explosion nearly killed.
Altman's here and he's got Winona.
What?
We need to move.
Raylan sprints after Alderman. Rachel follows. Outside Seymour's grill, Alderman runs away with Winona.
Let me go!
Shut up! I've come this far, I'm not going to be caught now.
Russell and Gary approach them.
Russell, Gary, but how?
Good thing Gary talked me into not listening to you for once.
Don't worry, Winona, we'll save you.
So, you try to blow us up, huh? After everything I've done for you, all the times I blindly followed your orders, you try to just get rid of me just like that?
Now, Russell, it's not what you think.
No, you said that you trusted me, that you respected me, but really you were no different from all the others. Well, I won't listen to your lies anymore, Seymour Aldman.
I'm through playing around. Put that gun down or she gets it.
You think that'll stop me?
Russell punches Alderman in the stomach, freeing Winona. Gary grabs Winona, pulls her to the ground. Alderman fires and misses. Russell shoots Alderman in the stomach.
Ah, betrayal doesn't feel so good, does it?
You shot me, you big buffoon. No, I won't lose like this.
Alderman limps back into the restaurant. Gary sits on the ground, holds Winona.
Thank God you're all right. I told you I'd save you, Winona, didn't I?
Yes, I suppose you did.
Alderman stumbles through the back of his once great restaurant, seeing visions of old friends. He starts to see them all around him. He enters the main dining room, realizes that it's Raylan staring him down.
End of the line, Altman.
No.
He attempts a weak attack, but before he gets close, Raylan shoots him in the gut.
Oh.
He fires widely in every direction as he clutches his wounds. Rachel appears from behind him, shoots him in the back.
Oh.
He stumbles away from the marshals, feeling his way along the bar, but finally out of energy, he collapses. From Alderman's eyes, he morphs into the images of his lost ones.
Ruby.
Alderman dies. The next morning, the police, FBI, marshals, and many press fans have surrounded the intersection. Winona is sitting on the back of a truck answering questions from a special investigator. Raylan comes walking over.
I think she's answered enough questions for now.
Raylan takes her hand, walks her over to where Art and Rachel are waiting.
Want me to drive her home?
No, I've got it.
It's okay, Raylan.
But, Winona,
Please, after everything I just went through, at least let me make my own decisions. Besides, you still have work to do here.
all right. But what are you going to do?
Well, right now I just want to go home, take a nice warm bath, and try to put all of this out of my mind.
That sounds nice.
Well, I'll never forget what you all did for me today.
She gives Raylan a kiss on the cheek.
Thank you. Call me later, all right?
Sure.
Winona gets in her car and Raylan closes the door for her. He watches them drive off.
You done good, Raylan. Why don't you take the rest of the day off?
Gee, Art, that sure is generous.
Don't say I never did nothing for you. But seriously, get some rest. Lord knows who you'll have to shoot tomorrow.
Art walks away and Raylan heads over to the police officers interviewing Gary and Russell.
Guess owe you with thanks, Big Russ, even though you did try to kill me.
Save it, Raylan. Nothing's changed between us. You always be my rival to the day I die.
Well, that's better than being your friend.
Well, Raylan, can I talk to you for a minute?
They walk off together.
Looks like you wiggled your way off the hook yet again.
Yeah, not exactly, but I figure since I helped catch a notorious fugitive, the most I'll get is a little community service. Even Russell might get off not so bad if I explain how he helped in the end.
Russell? How on earth do you figure you owe him a favor?
Well, we both just got mixed up in some bad business. Everyone deserves a second chance, don't you think?
You do realize that if it was up to me, I'd lock the both of you up and throw away the key.
Yes, I realize that. Fortunately for us, that's not your job.
No. My job is being a U.S. Marshal, and I'm a damn good one. Remember that next time you think about breaking the law.
Wait, we never did decide about Winona.
Decide what?
Which one of us is her true love, of course.
It's not up to us to decide that. It's up to her.
I know, but still, it can only be one of us.
I'm not so sure about that.
What do you mean?
I think we proved last night neither of us is going to give up on her. She'll just have to settle for having two men in her life.
Well, she's a lucky woman.
Yeah, lucky indeed.
Now, one more thing, Raylan.
What now?
Just, thanks for saving my life.
Don't remind me.
Raylan walks away. Gary looks out on the horizon, watching the sun rise over those green Kentucky trees. Fade to black. End of episode.
We've got 10 minutes. I think it's good right before the next reading. So let's get David up and Stephen and Daniel. We'll talk a little bit about this group. Chris, are you around? Let's try the table.
Let me grab mine.
Can you bump down the lights a little bit?
Yeah. No problem.
It's off back right now. Okay, thanks for sticking around. And actors, and again, once again, David. Where's David? There he is in the middle. Nice job, David. And we have Daniel here, the one and only Daniel. Daniel, you want to just get us going a little bit?
Sure. First of all, you guys look great. It's a great job, and I think the script's in really fantastic shape. I found it totally engaging from start to finish.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I found it totally engaging from start to finish. I thought the plot turns were terrific. I thought it sort of like embraced the genre of what it was. The villains were like good old mustachioed villains, and I just found it. Every time I thought I was about to get ahead of it, I wasn't ahead of it. I thought it kept turning. I thought you balanced the tone really well. The violence was sort of exhilarating. The comedy was fun, and the storytelling was just really solid. I think it's in really, really terrific shape. My only big dramaturgical question for you, and I had no issue with the monologue. Okay. My issue is I feel like Winona, that's the wife, right?
Yeah.
I feel like she hears too much at the beginning in a way that I don't know how she could actually continue with Gary. You know, I feel like that marriage is over. It's obvious who she's going to pick. And that idea of like, well, we're both involved and she's going to have to pick or love us. And I was like, really? She heard that her husband was going to become a heroin dealer? And I mean, I felt like at that point I didn't understand her. And I'm not an expert on the show. So, but I feel like she can walk in and maybe hear the tail end of a conversation, but I feel like she hears too much at that point, dramaturgically, for us to invest in her, in the love triangle. To me, it's a no-brainer. And even though we in the audience know it's a no-brainer that the guy in the cowboy hat is who we wanted to be with, you want her to actually think her loser husband isn't a loser. And I feel like if you could sort of invest in that at the top, I think that would help make her story more interesting and complicated. Because I don't understand. I mean, I think once you look, that's such a betrayal, you know, and once she understands that, then I feel like that journey is over. So that would be my big dramaturgical question that I would look at in the first act. Even though I found, you know, I was, my other concern is that so much of the first two acts take place in real time in the same location, but I actually felt that because there were so many satisfying story turns, it didn't bother me, and then because the third and fourth act sort of exploded out, I was basically fine with that. I just think it's that piece that would be my big dramaturgical question for the script. My tonal question for the script would be, I feel like when it feels like you're having fun with the sort of 80s TV villain mustachio genre, like Gare Bear, that stuff is great. But sometimes I feel like you get a little on the nose with like She's All Tied Up, and I feel like if you're going to do She's All Tied Up, you have to spin it and find your own sort of ironic mocking She's All Tied Up, which you do. I should have written down. There are so many really funny lines where I feel like you are having fun with the genre, like Gare Bear, and there was like a couple. There was another one that just really made me laugh later. I can look at it and find, but just every once in a while I found that the dialogue got a little on the nose. So you could probably, I think we get these shows, they're in our bones, we grew up with them, so even if we're sort of unfamiliar with the show, we understand like the show, and I feel like then you can sort of cut to the chase, or spin it. But I think it's really impressive. Like I found it. I could not believe 45 minutes had gone by. I thought you guys read it with so much energy. I was really impressed. Any questions from you guys for David?
My one big note, and I kind of told you this briefly, but I think the stuff that I see you really interested in here is really almost hamstrung by it being a Spec script. I mean, I think you've got, like you said, 80s. I think it's like 1880s. I think you're writing like this sort of melodrama of the 18. Like I think it's fun. The villain is fun. I think this is a pilot about him more than this is a justified script about Raylan. Which is fine. I mean, you wrote it under the circumstances you did, but I would really urge you to consider when you've got some time away that you have a totally different world in here that doesn't need us to have that protagonist. And there's other characters, there's this backstory, it's a really fun character, and if you play with the irony of him and put him in this contemporary thing, I just think there's something really neat to be found in here that isn't so reliant on justified.
I mean, on a lot of those procedural shows, like on Burn Notice, I mean, the villains are fun parts, and you get the great character actors that want to play those parts, and clearly you show that you have an affinity to writing those characters. But at the same time, I didn't feel like you lost your principles, and I didn't feel like they were totally hijacked by it wasn't like a Batman movie where we're only interested in the villain. I found the sort of central premise of the, I don't know the show very well, and I felt like I would love, if I knew the show, I'd have a little bit more of a sense of Winona. She's really the only character I don't have too much of a sense of. In terms of this as a spec, if you were sending it to someone who was an expert on Justified, I feel like I have a sense of all the other principals, and I have a sense of all the other guest stars, and who I would even offer those parts. I get it, but I feel like, unfortunately, she has a gag over her mouth for 2/3 of the script, so you have to just be careful and make sure you really, and you set it up really beautifully at the beginning, but maybe there's just like a few more kernels, and then when she takes the gag off, and she has some of her lines seem a little general, like "you're a sicko" or whatever. That I think you can do better for her.
You sort of don't know whether to take it that seriously or certain parts it's like slapstick.
Yeah, I think that's the tone of the show, though. I mean, that's sort of what FX, the channel that it's on, all their shows are sort of like that. They kind of take a genre and then they sort of make it sort of halfway between live action and animation. Like there's some sort of it almost has that silent movie like it's shot in a what am I trying to say? It's shot like slightly too fast, so it has that sort of heightened feel with the tone. And again, I think because we've all grown up with procedurals and there are so many of them. I feel like now it's very hard to do one that's just straight. Like you have to kind of be making fun of it, even as you're giving us all the satisfactions of the turns in a good procedural.
And also the villain was the most interesting one. The others stopped compared to him. He was a stop there.
Yeah, I feel like that is like, I feel like that's what what the show is. And in that sense, I feel like you really embraced what the show is. I would look at that last conversation between the two men. I think you could also make that conversation more subtextual, tougher, shorter, but also say more with less.
If you want to continue a little bit outside, we're getting ready to wrap up. We have another reading at 4. But I want to thank Daniel, David, Stephen, and Cass. Thank you so